Hello, sorry about this. I'm kind of like assembly pausing and stopping and multiple times. I don't know why. Okay, yeah, let's just continue. Okay, let's just jump right into it. Okay, yeah. All right, though this is my artifact episode number 3777. Today's date is December 24, 2025. It's been almost like a 11:16 a.m. Okay, and it's been a lot of delays actually happened. Whatever, let's just jump into the question. All right, yeah. Now question is, what if time travel required solving puzzle? Okay, first of all, what is exactly time travel, and what exactly is this thing? It's a okay. So let's just understand the question first of all. Okay, yeah, first of all, let me clarify. Okay, um let me okay, yeah. Okay, first of all, what exactly is this question and why am I asking this question to myself? This is what if question. Why am I asking this question to myself? What if question is always really interested way to give the answer. It kind of like a force you to think about that reality. When I try to think about that reality, or when I try to create that reality inside of my mind, I am kind of like utilizing my knowledge and information and experience that I've been through, and somehow it kind of like a felt good, somehow it kind of like a somebody feel really good. Disclaimer, the information that I'm trying to tell you is not exactly right or is not exactly wrong either. It's a raw, it's unfiltered, it's just my opinion. So do not believe in any kind of like information that I am saying, or do not seek for a kind of like information that I'm saying. All right, it's just my opinion, and opinion are subjective. All right, now regarding about the question says that ki, what if time travel required solving puzzle? Now first of all, what is exactly, why does it that, why is kind of like a somebody time travel required solving puzzle? It's a like like solving puzzle means what? Okay, yeah, this solving puzzle means it's not kind of like a somebody is this thing that ki, if you are going to the back in time or future in time, and kind of like a someone kind of like a hand with you a puzzle and you have to solve the Rubik's cubes and things like that. No, it's not. uh, Solving puzzle means what? What exactly is this question refer to? uh, a kind of like a basically is this thing, we don't really have a time machine. Okay, yeah. But uh, we will gonna make time machine. I'm not really sure can we able to make a time machine. I'm not really sure, because it's a kind of like a somebody lot of things will. Let's just ask this question to myself, can humans will kind of develop the time machine? Well, it's a very tricky question. Okay, I think that humans will be kind of like invented the time machine, because I think that na ki, what I realize that ki why I'm saying is this thing, because of that ki we are humans, you and me are humans, and we are always like excited about something, or kind of like some curiosity. We always have a curiosity regarding about everything that ki kind of like some curiosity regarding about something or something. Okay, yeah, like basically take this mobile phone. Okay, yeah. Now this is a kind of like just a mobile phone that I am holding, so that I can able to be touch. I can able to be touch, and I can able to be kind of like a do control, and I could call, and I could access the internet and things and that and that. How is this thing actually happened? Well, this is actually happened is because of that people have a curiosity. Like basically people have a kind of like some curiosity regarding about talking to the people on the phone, or at that time there is no phone, a telephone. Like usually first time kind of like some Graham Bell kind of like invented the telephone. It's a kind of like a some revolutionary thing that usually people can call to the person who is kind of like a some different part of the world, or kind of like like away from us, or things like that. A kind of like some device that I could connect with that particular person. It was kind of like a revolutionary idea. Okay, yeah. And at that time phone was kind of like a very big heavy thing. It's kind of like a a very big so big phone. Okay, yeah. But after a 200 year after, we have this kind of like a phone which is kind of like a compatible, so that we could able to be use access internet, we could call, we could do anything on this phone. And this is all this thing actually happen is because of the curiosity. Okay, yeah. because people already realize that ki what could do with the phone. Okay, yeah, and because of this thing, not only we can call on the phone, we could access the internet, we could shoot mobile phone, we could record the video. Okay, yeah, there are so many things that we could do on the phone, and this is actually happened because of the people have a curiosity regarding about what could phone supposed to be do, and that's why we kind of like invented. And not only the phone, but look at around yourself, like look at the kind of like somebody this home, this kind of like a somebody everything. Okay, look at everything. It's kind of like somebody is this thing that ki we've been curious regarding about stuff that we've been curious. Yeah, we are like humans are very curious regarding about what kind of like somebody things that they want, what kind of like something like I don't know how do I supposed to explain. It's a very hard to describe the things, but yeah, we've been very curious regarding about things that wanted to achieve or want to know about stuff. Okay, and because of this curiosity, we are led to here. We are kind of like a develop this world and things and that and that. Now time machine is also a very curious thing, and it just not just kind of like us, like we are kind of like curious about time machine for almost like a decade before decade. Yeah, like a people have kind of like a thought process regarding about what if we could time travel and things like that. Okay, yeah, so we are very curious regarding about this thing. So if I kind of like a look at the path, okay, yeah, of human history and human thought process and way that human invented stuff, I think that na ki people will gonna kind of like simply invent the time machine. Okay, yeah. But the future is little bit far future, not future, but kind of like a, let's just say maybe 100 year or maybe within a century or maybe next century. I'm not really sure, but next kind of like a couple of century we might have kind of like a time machine. Now, if I invented the time machine, then there are lot of things will gonna happen, lot of things will gonna change, a lot of things will supposed to be like let me tell you one thing. It's a kind of like a somebody time machine that it's not kind of like a somebody a device that kind of like a somebody solve your daily problems and things and that. No, time machines are kind of like a simply the messing with our reality or messing with our kind of like a universal laws and things and that. Okay, yeah, and that's kind of like a creates the problem. Example is this saying that ki if I have a time machine and I invented the time machine, then I kind of like somebody use this time machine to jump back almost like a 200 year ago, sorry, or 100 year ago, and I see my grandfather and I kill my grandfather. Okay, or I kind of like assembly, yeah, I killed my grandfather. So what is exactly happened? Who killed my grandfather? Did I kill my grandfather, or like basically is this thing? If my grandfather died, then how do I supposed to exist? Right? Yeah. So it's a kind of like a create a paradox and things like that. Okay, yeah, which is kind of like a somebody very very kind of like a somebody like we don't know what kind of like consequences will gonna happen if I killed my grandfather. Probably I would not gonna exist, but there are not just me, but there are so many things will gonna change and things and that. Okay, yeah, because my grandfather shouldn't supposed to be die because of me. They should supposed to be die by a kind of like a natural death and things and that. So it kind of like a creates a paradox, it kind of like a creates a lot of confusion, it kind of like a creates a lot of things that like it just kind of like somebody is this thing na ki um how do I supposed to explain it? It's kind of like a piece of puzzle. Okay, let's just say you have a kind of like a pieces of puzzle. If you remove this piece of puzzle, then that puzzle might not gonna solve, because that puzzle should supposed to be stay there. And this is what kind of like a somebody when you mess up with the time, because whatever you do in that back in time, things might be affected. Okay, yeah, things might be gonna get affected a lot. So it is really essential to understand that the consequences of you exist in the back in time. Okay, yeah, it does not it does not kind of like a somebody happen with the future. Like if I kind of like a went into the future, then probably it's kind of like somebody really okayish and things and that, because I don't know, but if you like the paradox will not gonna create in if we are kind of like a went into the future and things like that. But from the future, if I kind of like a came back, then this might be a kind of like a creates a paradox. Like a let me give you the perspective. Okay, sorry. Okay, so let's just say this is the past, this is the present, and this is the future. Okay, so this is the past, this is the future, and middle part is the present. Okay, yeah. So let's just say I am here, I am at the present. Okay, yeah. If I went back in time, then probably it creates a paradox. Okay, yeah. But if I am here, if this is the present and this is the future, if I'm went into the future, it will not create the paradox. It will not gonna create the paradox. Huh. But let me tell you one thing. If I am here, means I am at the future, and if I came back to my present, that is not my present, that is my past. So it also create the paradox too. It also create the paradox too. So it is really essential to understand you cannot go back. If you went to the future, still you cannot go back because it creates the paradox. Look, it creates the paradox, and that's the kind of like some things that in a time travel concept which is like really crazy. By the way, I don't really have that many information regarding about this thing, but I just kind of like have been known about the all of the sci-fi movies and time travel movies and things. I love time travel movies, by the way, and these are kind of like a movies that taught me that you can't mess up with those things because it's kind of like simply beyond the laws and physics and things and that and that. Okay, yeah. So there is a lot of thing will gonna happen, lot of thing will gonna change and things. So that's why we should supposed to understand our consequences. So for this particular process, the question actually refers to as that key before we do the time travel, we should supposed to be solve the puzzle. Means like that we should supposed to be understand that key what kind of like assembly consequences happen, and with kind of like assembly from like with very important like it's a very very essential, and it's a it's a yeah. So that's why this question is kind of like a referred to us. If you don't really understand the concept, then probably I kind of like a recommend a movie, Back to the Future Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. Three part. These are kind of like a movies are kind of like a really represent what exactly the time paradox, what exactly is this thing and that and that. It's a frictionalized version. Okay, it's a kind of like a movies kind of like a frictionalized version regarding about what things happen and things and that. But they kind of like a somewhat something explained, but scientifically I'm not really sure, because maybe if someone kind of like invented the time machine, then probably they might kind of like somebody do something very differently, like they do something means like that might be in reality time machine would not work like that way or something like that. In reality, yeah, we could travel in time. Yeah, we could travel in time. Literally we could travel in time. So time travel is actually exist. No, it's not. Okay, yeah. Okay, what exactly is this thing? Okay, so basically let's just say that if I have a kind of like a spaceship. Okay, yeah, I took that spaceship, went into the black hole. Okay, yeah, let's just say Sagittarius A. In our galaxy, we have kind of like a biggest black hole in the center of our galaxy called Sagittarius A. So if I just kind of like simply take my spaceship, okay, yeah, went into that kind of like a black hole which is kind of like a far away. But let's just imagine that my ship is equipped with a lot of kind of like a somebody speed and things and that, like I'm not crossing the speed of light, but still I have kind of like a lot of speed. But still if I kind of like a went to the kind of like a simply black hole that kind of like a very very far away, probably it would take like a millions of year to me, and probably my life is not had enough for kind of like a survive for this millions of year and things and that. Okay, yeah. But still just imagine that let's just say the black hole is kind of like a near to the moon. Okay, yeah. If the black hole is kind of like a near to the moon, then probably we might not gonna survive. But just imagine that if the black hole is kind of like a near to the moon and we just kind of like a turn around, then the gravity of that black hole is a kind of like a simply bend the curve of time so much that probably for you time is kind of like a very less as compared to the time for happen very fast. Like basically for you time runs slow for you, and for the people who are on the earth, they have time run faster for them. So probably you spend almost like a minute into the orbit of the black hole. For the for the earth it might takes kind of like some year for them probably. Yeah, like basically equivalent like a 1 minute in near to the orbit of black hole, which equivalent to the 1 year of entire time thing. Well, it's a very like it's a very kind of like a something very mathematical point of perspective. Okay, yeah, I'm not really sure it is actually happened, but gravity will kind of like a bend the space time curvature. So it kind of like a bend the space as well as it bend the space as well as it's bend the time too. Okay, space time is a fabric, by the way. Okay, yeah, and the black hole is kind of like a bend that space time, so it bend the space as well as it bend the time too. Okay, so this has actually happened. Um so if you kind of like a do this trip, then probably you will gonna arrive at earth, which is kind of like a assembly in the future. Okay, yeah, like you are kind of like a basically you launch from the earth, let's just say that key 2025, and you come back after like a basically 2125, almost like after 100 year. Okay, yeah, but for you that trip is kind of like a give you just a 1 year of trip. It kind of like a gives you forward almost like 100 year ahead. So which has actually happened. Okay, this is the one method. Another method is that you have to go kind of like simply at speed of light. Okay, like let's just say you have a train that kind of like a run at speed of light, then for you time can run slower for you too, because the people who are in the train, they are kind of like simply facing very less time as compared to the people who are in the outside. They are kind of like a, yeah, whatever, but it just lot of thing will gonna happen. It just not just kind of like it's just, yeah, it's lot of things, whatever. It's a kind of like a somebody very like what I'm trying to tell you is this thing that it's very essential to understand the fact regarding about the time travel. Okay, understand the consequences, what kind of like action that impact on you, impact on everyone, and things like that. All right, listen, I should supposed to be end here. I have a lot of work to do. It's been a lot of delays. Thank you.